Alright, hello again. This is Jeff Scott, your instructor for the online version of 152, 157 website development XHTML CSS for the fall 2015 semester at Blackhawk Technical College. We are in the middle of talking about Chapter 14, the last chapter in our text, and we're to the section 1412 on an overview of jQuery. jQuery is a JavaScript library that's about 10 years old, and it's probably being used on somewhere approximately around 75 to 80% of the top websites that use client-side code are using jQuery. Now you can go out to jQuery.com and do a download and download the jQuery files. I showed you this in the previous one. And when you download the files, you can download either version 2 point something or version 1.11 point something. The difference is the version 1.11 point something that has support for Internet Explorer 6, 7, and 8, where the version 2 point something does not. And when you download it, you can download either the minified, also known as the compressed version, where just about all of the white space has been removed. The whole thing looks like it's about 3 lines long, but the lines go out widthwise, for several thousand characters. Or you can download the non-minified or non-compressed version, and that has all the comments in it and everything else in it. So, or you can choose not to use that at all, and you can just do this, where you tell the system to go out to what's called a content delivery network, and that's a place on the internet that actually houses jQuery for you, and you can do that. All right. The advantage of copying jQuery and having it on your own local machine is you don't need an internet connection. The advantage of what you see right there in the pink, all right, the advantage right there is that you don't have to load jQuery yourself onto your own system, so it's going to be, the page will be a little bit smaller. But you do need an internet connection in this case. Now, jQuery does most everything in what's called the ready event. All right, so you'll see a lot of this at the document.ready function, and there's even another way to write that, but I don't really want to get into that right now. All right, so they've got, they've got a jQuery example here on page 590. Maybe I went too far. Maybe it was 589. There it is. And really, all this is going to do is inside of the document ready function, there's going to be an alert that says ready for jQuery. I'm not going to run that because it doesn't really pay. There's the result. Okay? jQuery works with CSS or cascading style sheet selectors. All right, and they show some examples of some common selectors here. You can have the asterisk, which is a wildcard, which will allow you to choose just about anything. All right, if you do this, li, this will choose all list elements. This will choose the class, my class. This will choose the ID, my ID. This will choose all anchor tags that are contained within a nav. This will choose all anchors that are contained within an ID named resources. This will select the first element, the first li element on a page. This will select odd numbered li elements on a page. Now they talk about some of the jQuery methods here on page 590. The best thing I can tell you is what I had mentioned to you previously, and that's this. That if I go out here, if you go out to jQuery.com, this is where you do the download of jQuery, okay? But if you go out to the API documentation, that's where you find literally, virtually every one of the routines that you can use with jQuery. And what's nice, I'm going to grab one. And in fact, I'm going to grab toggle because I kind of like that one. So it's down in the T's, so it'll be down a ways. But I'm going to find, and I know it's down here, I'll find toggle. And there it is. All right, display or hide the matched elements. So I'm going to click on that, and what it does is it brings up the page for toggle. It gives you a description, gives you the options, it gives you the syntax, and then someplace down, there's an example, but then usually it shows you some code. All right, so what they're saying is, notice when I click. Well, I guess not much is happening here, is it? But really what happens when you toggle, I guess it wasn't the best example, is it turns things on and off. So here you go, you got hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. All right, and I can grab the same code in here and I can copy it. The good news is, since I'm not copying it from the book, that should copy almost directly into here, and it does. So if I call this toggle.html and I run it, it should look pretty much the same way as you just saw it. The hello, goodbye, hello, goodbye. All right? Now, that's not all that big a thing, but you can start, hopefully, you start thinking about uses of this on a website. If you've got certain information that you either want to show or hide from users, you can toggle it that way. And all the code to do that is what's right here. Now the syntax for this, almost for lack of better words, almost looks a little bit screwy. All right, and what I mean by that is, what this says is, okay, anytime you click a button, and there's only one button there, you want to call this function. That function says that any paragraph that's on there, you want to toggle it. And notice it's display. All right, so the paragraph says hello, and there's another paragraph there that displays goodbye, but it's hidden. So when you toggle it, you're hiding that one and showing that one, or hiding that one and showing that one. All right, and in the 167 class, again, I believe I mentioned that that's a whole class on jQuery, and we go over that and over that and over that like crazy. All right, there's another example here. I'm just not going to run through these because we're taking a long time to go through this. You can create image galleries. These are nice. You might have a bunch of thumbnails here, and you can click on any thumbnail, and you can have the big image show over here. All right. Other times, you might want an image gallery where on the top of your page, you might want it set up where you might have 3 or 4 images that you want to have constantly scroll. You can do that with jQuery as well. jQuery also has loads of plugins. One of the things that we do in the 167 class is we spend a lot of time going over and talking about the plugins, such as the form validator plugin. And that'll do a lot of form validation for you. All right. So, in other words, if I go out now, let's see, where is something I can use here? I can go right here. And now I'm going to leave that one open. And if I go over to here and I type in jQuery plugin, there literally, notice there's a registry right here. You probably have thousands of plugins that are available to you. In fact, look, there's 500, 500, 300, 300, 200, etc. If you added all those up, my guess is it'd be probably rather at least a couple thousand different plugins. Plus, you can write your own plugins and submit them to jQuery, and if they're considered good enough, they might be used. And there are plugins that you can buy as well. So you've got a lot of different options. All right. And again, they give you some examples here. I'm just not going to run through those right now. We do, so much of the class in the 167 class is hands-on. It's almost incredible the amount that is hands-on. So, jQuery resources, again, we mentioned jQuery.com. I've already showed you the jQuery.com, the API. But another thing I want to show you out here too is, in addition to jQuery.com, there is jQueryUI.com, which is the user interface. And they show you all sorts of examples. In the last lecture, I showed an accordion example where you can show and hide different pieces. All right, there's other ones too. There's draggables, there's menus. So there's a menu, for example, so I can set that up, and notice those menus can have drop downs, and they can have drop downs, etc. And again, they encourage you, they put all the source out there, so I can grab all of the source that's there, copy it to the clipboard, bring it into my editor, open up a new page, save it. This time I'll save it as menu.html. It's all there now, and run it. Not sure why that wouldn't run. I didn't think there were any blank spaces in there, but let's take a quick look. Oh, again, this has to be HTTP : here and also here. There's reasons why they put it in like that. I don't want to go into it right now, but now notice, there you go. And you go, well, it's not working, it's not a menu. Yeah, we also have to make sure that the CSS is set up. So let me close a couple of these things that are open here. Alright, so you saw what it looked like. Where's the CSS? Resources, same thing. HTTP : I don't know if that'll work, if like resources there is the right path or not. So it may end up still looking like it doesn't work here. So we'd have to make the right path, but that's what the situation is in there. If you put copy in the code, you might have to do a little bit of work, but hey, you know, you've got basically a whole menu type of thing set up. All right. And that's it. So I was going to come in and add some more stuff to the Trump website, but I think we've gone through, with all these lectures, we've gone through enough examples that they're not going to put anything else in there. I'm just, again, I'm kind of getting hamstrung for time, as I'm sure many of you are. So that's going to be it for the class. What I will do when I go in next week into Blackhawk is I've got all these lectures. They're now somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 lectures. All right, and as you look your way up here, the syllabus is there, the course eval, the videos are there, the book source is there. There were no PowerPoints. No, I'm sorry, the PowerPoints are there. The in-class stuff, that's where I'm going to move the Trump stuff into, is right there. It says to be provided, but it will be. I'm going to copy, again, we're doing the prime properties for every chapter in which there is a prime properties assignment, which is about 11 out of the 14. I'll copy all the homework pages, save them as PDFs, and those will be out here early next week. All right? Any questions, as always, please, the faster you can get a hold of me at jscott@blackhawk.edu, the better off we'll always be. And there are 2 lab assistants. I've mentioned this before. John Wanda, JWANDA, @blackhawk.edu, and Mike Wagman, MWAGMAN, @blackhawk.edu. All right? I hope you enjoyed the course.